Okay, bear with me. I've never taken a video before like this, let alone published it online anywhere. So this is the HOSA TRS quarter-inch to quarter-inch Y splitter cable. Right there you can see what the actual model number is. It's the CYS-103. It's 3 feet long. And I'm going to attempt to plug it into my Meris Midi I/O box into port number 1. It is connected to MIDI via the WIDI jacks and a WIDI master. I've got that all over my board, pardon the mess. The board is in a state of flux as I try to figure all this out, so that's why the mess. But it's going to plug into port number 1, and then one end of the Y cable is going to plug into the Iridium on MIDI channel 1. The other cable is going to plug into MIDI channel 2 into the TRS port of the Sunset. I have it all set up to where the MIDI output is set to the green or out or on, I think they actually call it, on both the Iridium and the Sunset, and incidentally by the Compadre, but I can't test it until I get the other cable in, which is a 3-way into 1 splitter. But like I say, it's going to go into MIDI port number 1. And we'll see how that goes. So bear with me while I hook this up, and we'll make this test happen. So into port number 1, I'm going to take one end of the MIDI splitter and plug it in, or the TRS splitter, I should say. And then the Y cable end, there's 2 ends to it. One is going to plug into the Iridium. This is hard to do while trying to hold the camera. And the other end of the Y, which is here, is going to plug into the Sunset. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the board, which will give everything power. Everything is powering up. And I have all the peripherals for this test set on the WIDI jacks and WIDI master is set to force peripheral. That's because while it's in the slave master mode, it doesn't, the apps don't pick it up. So you'd have to actually unplug this one or take the power away from it in order to use the apps on the other. But as a proof of concept, you'll notice that everything is showing up in the WIDI app on my iPad. Okay, and the Meris is where we're plugged into, so we'll plug it in there, and you can see that I have it set up as force peripheral. Okay, all of them are set for force peripheral currently. So now if we go down here and open the Iridium controller app, okay, and we'll go down here to the setting, scan for MIDI devices, but they're already showing up, and then we'll just scroll down to Meris since that's the one it's connected to. We'll check the checkbox, and my Iridium is on MIDI channel number 1, so that's correct. And we're going to test, is the pedal on or off? Well, currently it is off. And we're going to hit the test button, and now it's on. So we'll come back down here and we'll check the checkbox that it was a successful test. We'll scroll down to enable MIDI input, and we're going to check that box. Now we'll come over here and we will highlight the clean jangle just to test with. And there you can see the levels and the settings. That's stock. It's on 50% or 50 for the drive. So we'll come up here and I'm going to turn the drive button. And we'll see that it is indeed activating the drive. Okay. So there's that one. That one works. So now we'll close, well, we'll minimize that and we'll go to the Sunset controller app. Now it's up. We'll go down here, scan for MIDI devices. And we're looking for Meris. And it is not showing for some reason. I wonder if we close this. And reselect scan for MIDI devices. There it is. And now we're on MIDI channel number 2. And we're going to press the test button. And you see the Sunset is not on. So we'll hit the test button. And I heard the click. And now you'll see it is on. So then I will check the checkbox. And I will scroll down and select the Enable MIDI Input, where it says Enable Control of Patch Settings from the pedal. That is enabled. Then we'll go over here. We'll choose Texas Classic, which is the default, and it'll say A level is at 1130. Okay, so we'll come up here and we'll go to the A side and we'll hit the level knob and we will turn it to the left and right as we watch that working there. Back to 1130. So you'll see I'm coming out of the Meris Midi I with the HOSA Y cable. One end of the Y is going to the Iridium. The other end of the Y is going to the Sunset. So I think that successfully illustrates that the concept of having a 3-way into one Y cable will work for my Compadre, Sunset, and Iridium. And I would suspect a 4-way into one cable would work if I wanted to use 4 of the small format Strymon pedals. In other words, I would have to add the Riverside to this. I have done some experiments before I videoed this, that if anything else is plugged into any one of these other ports, it does not work. It does not work at all. The very first one in the chain will work, but anything else will not work. So basically it's a 1-port box if you're wanting to do this with splitter cables, but it does work. So there's your proof of concept, guys. Enjoy.